Hello.
Hey, let me get us on screen here because this is rough. All right.
Yeah.
This is absolutely awful. All right. So, how's it going, man? We appreciate you coming onto the show and dealing with all the issues that I'm currently dealing with. But thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
And you did, you finished. I think you just missed out on the finals. Did pretty well in Mexico City.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag in Mexico City. I'm not very happy with a few things. I don't want to come across too salty, but I think things need to change in the Forza RC. I think it's whether it's the game itself, which is a big one in my opinion. The game isn't designed to be used as an esport. There's so many features that are missing from the game that other games have. It would make it so much better and so much easier to use.
So what kind of improvements would you want to see? Like, especially from your perspective, it's really important that, people know like what those kind of things are.
Well, like just for example, when you're watching the stream, you'll see someone switch to a camera view which shows you a paint job of the car that you're watching, and that's rubbish. I don't care about that. Like, the paint job looks fantastic, but I don't care. I want to see the action. I want to see what's going on. And then also, on that point again, you'll be watching a great battle between two people, and then all of a sudden it'll jump to first place, and they'll just be on their own. And it's just rubbish to watch. You don't care about it. Well, I don't. I want to see good racing, and you don't want to see a car on its own, do you? Doing nothing.
Or even just two cars lapping close by each other. It's not exciting. And we've brought this up before as well. Like, we've taken a quick stab at YMTV every now and then, saying that the camera angles and their focus, what they're focusing on, is not always the optimum thing to be doing. But it's, I don't know. I mean, the camera angles should be something that they should really fix early on. I don't think that should be too difficult, but
yeah, that's one of the things that we've talked about is the camera angles and thing. And like, I don't think it's at the forefront of the issues because like apparently they have a bunch of other stuff that they need to be working on.
No, there's a lot of
which is the sad part about it. Yeah, which is the sad part about it because the camera angles, watching it is half the battle, and it should be one of the main things, but it's not.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the first game where they've really taken it seriously. Like, the other motorsports were good, but it seemed like they just sort of kind of were making more of a video game and less of a sim. But now they're kind of leaning the other way because they have Horizon, and I kind of feel like that's a good thing for motorsport. They're going to pick up a lot of more serious sort of angles, I guess. We talked about it a while ago on another episode where we thought that GT Sport, Assetto Corsa, and Project Cars all had really fantastic replay footage and angles, and it really should be a bit closer. But
yeah, what I don't understand is, it's say they're going down a simulation path, then why don't they just copy real life? You watch a race around a track. You've got cameras on certain corners. They've got and the telemetry or whatever you want to call it, the heads-up display that they've got to give you all the information is what you want to know. You get to see the action. If you miss any action, there's a replay. You get to watch it. Why don't they just do that? Why have they got to create their own system, which, quite frankly, is not good enough? Like, that's what I don't understand.
It's far, it's really off par.
Like, you watch what GT Sport has with the camera angles, and it just looks so realistic and so good. Like, I've been saying this for a while. Like, just put the cameras where the cameras are on TV in real life.
Yeah.
Just all you have to do is set them there. Just set them in the spot where they are.
That's what they literally did for GT Sport. Is they went to the tracks and mapped where the cameras would be put, and I think they must have talked to some camera guys. They're like, "Hey, when you film this, what do you look for?"
Yeah.
And so they've really captured that realistic essence from watching it. It feels like real life. Like, it's almost indistinguishable.
And the quality is incredible as well.
Yeah.
And the quality of racing as well is second to none in terms of GT Sport. And like I said, if you guys haven't seen Force One, go to Force One's Twitter. He posted a link to a World Finals, like a World Championship with a bunch of different stuff for GT Sport.
World Tour.
With different countries, World Tour, sorry. Watch that. Just look at the camera angles. You pay attention to the draft. You guys can see all the different kinds of things that they're doing. It's absolutely incredible. And it's a level up from what Forza's doing right now.
And the live penalties was really cool. And something that I'd like to see in Forza is live penalty system.
Yeah, would you agree with that, Daveyskills?
Yeah.
That's something I would like to see as well.
What I've said is whatever the decision is with the penalties, it needs to be consistent. They need to get it in the game. They need to implement it as part of the game, so that even if you think it's wrong, you know if you do this, it will penalize you. So then people will stop doing it. Whereas at the moment, you've got people from Gfinity all watching everyone's point of view, and then a head marshal making a final decision, and 10 people can view the same incident and come out with 10 different conclusions. It's not consistent. The rules are there saying don't cut, don't crash, don't do this, don't do that. But people do it and get away with it all the time. And whenever you've got a problem, whenever you raise anything with one of the marshals, they either don't have the information to hand, or they say we don't want to penalize you guys. And that's their response effectively. So that says to me, you can just get away with doing anything.
Yeah, I mean that's a possible solution to what we saw with Lage diving box there. Just didn't want to penalize because just a bit of a racing incident. We'll just brush it off. Yeah. And similar with Force One and you, that crash on the Bathurst there seemed a little bit like that as well.
I mean, it's just that the fact that Lage didn't get a penalty, like I like Lage. Lage is I'd consider him a close friend when it comes to Forza. The fact that he didn't get a penalty for that is the biggest joke I have ever seen. It's just ridiculous.
It was
I don't understand.
Insane.
I think even he agrees with that statement.
Yeah.
I think he did actually say in an interview afterwards. I think he said I deserved a penalty. I didn't catch the interview itself, but I think he said something like that. I think Box said something about he deserved a penalty for him dive-bombing Zoom as well, which he did end up getting a penalty for, obviously. But you're seeing it on screen right now. I mean, a lot of these guys, I mean, that's just, I don't understand how that's not a penalty. I mean, that boggles my mind.
Yeah, me as well. I'm stumped. I'd like to speak to the marshal that made the call not to give the penalty and be like, dude, what were you thinking?
Yeah, but the other thing I want to talk to you about was your incident with Force One, and he said that you guys are good now, and obviously I'm assuming everything's fine with you guys, but he chalked it up to be a racing incident. He said that maybe he should have gotten a penalty even though he didn't. What was your take on it? Is there anything you could have done? And what was your perspective on the whole thing? I know you wanted to hear his side of it as well on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I have two options. I either try and overtake the car that's going slower because they've made a mistake, or I slow down and put myself under even more pressure from Force One's teammate. So, I'm because he's made a mistake, I'm not gonna stop racing. In my mind, I've got the racing line. He's outbroken himself going into turn 2. He's re-entering the track at a slower pace, and I don't understand how cannot be his fault. And I've told him this, and when I was on stage, I was sat there was one person in between me and Force One, and I was very open with how I felt about it. I lost my head, and I just think I just think it's ridiculous that it can be viewed as a racing incident. In my opinion, when you watch it back on the replay cameras, it doesn't look that bad, but when you're there, my car was sliding all the way through that corner because of the contact we had, and then you guys play the game. You know what a sim twitch is like. Yeah. When you get a sim twitch in a car like that with no traction control, it's game over. You do very well to save it. and I didn't save it, and I hit the wall. And because Forza is a game that doesn't work in halves, you either get 100% damage or 0% damage. I got 100% damage, and my race was done. And there's just no consequence for Force One other than he gets the point.
I mean, he agrees that he should have gotten a penalty for that. Like, in his eyes, that's like, okay, he made contact with you. And like you said, if there was like inbuilt game penalties where it's like you make contact with anything, you will get penalized.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if you've ever seen iRacing. They have a really good system where, so you see, like, even if somebody
I've played iRacing many times. It works, man. It works.
Yeah, the system that is fantastic. Like, even if you spin out in front of somebody, and somebody spins out in front of you, and you hit them, you will get like an X or 3x, I think. And if you spin out and lose control of your car, you get penalized.
Yeah. And it's not a perfect system on iRacing, but everyone understands it and everyone abides by those rules. So it works.
And having watched a bunch of races and been in a couple myself, the racing's actually really good. Like, everyone's very fair, very clean. Like, there's not really too many incidents, unless you're in rookies or something like that. But yeah.
But
I think a penalty system that's game built and just, there's no, it could have been a penalty, it shouldn't have been a penalty. It either is or it isn't. I think you're right. If it should be black and white, and that way people know what they can and can't do, and that'll just keep it very clean and fair.
Yeah, especially when there's money on the line, and
absolutely.
what some people fail to realize is that these people who are making their decisions, they're getting these free trips to Mexico City, and they're still getting paid to be there, regardless of whether they make a right decision or a wrong decision. Whereas someone like myself, if I'm on the end of a wrong decision, I don't get paid to be there. I've just wasted my time and my money to get there. It's it.
The other thing was, I think that was the incident that's put him through and you not to the finals. I think that was a separating difference in terms of points, wasn't it? Because you were just on the outside.
To be honest, the next two races after that were nightmares for me as well.
Really?
The race where Force One made the comeback from last to fourth place, I was in 10th. I don't know, 10th, 9th, something like that to start with, and I got taken out at the end of lap one, just completely taken out. And then Force One overtook me and a bunch of guys there, and then I was behind Force One, and I basically followed them through the pack. And then on the last lap, because my teammate Chemical was on the bubble, I just let Chemical back through and just let him go, just because it's whatever. I was already out.
Right.
The only way I would have made it into the finals is if I came like first in that race.
Gotcha.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's a tough
break,
break, though.
Points. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen though, like, you know what I mean. We've seen in the Wednesday showdowns. You've had the pace to. You've had the pace to compete with those top guys, and especially when you've had even more time to practice. And it's like you can do it, and it's tough to see when stuff like that happens or when you get set back and we don't get to see your full potential and stuff like that. I mean, that's got to be tough as well, not even being able to make the finals.
Yeah, it's always frustrating when you know that you've got more to give. I'm sure anyone's in that situation would feel frustrated.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm coming to a point now where I've been doing this for so long. Like my first professional competition was in 2007. So
it's crazy.
I've experienced quite a lot, and I think this Forza RC is just getting to a point where you've got to put in too much time and too much effort to compete. I think it's not worth it when your entire competition can be decided by some marshal who doesn't really care whether what happens to you and whether you win.
He doesn't want to penalize people.
Exactly.
No, totally.
So on a little bit of a lighter note here, what you're going to London. Where are you starting? Are you starting in mid pack? I think.
I'd be starting in 8th place, but I think it's 8th place, but I can't actually attend the London event.
Oh, you can't attend London?
No.
That's news to, I think, everybody.
Yeah. I think a few people know, but I haven't really posted it anywhere.
Mm.
But
Not
my
common knowledge just yet.
girlfriend, yeah, my
Yeah,
girlfriend, or
yeah.
actually my fiance now. I've just proposed to her.
Oh,
Um,
congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
She's taken me away to New York for just under a week to
Oh,
celebrate my 30th birthday.
coming out to
So
my country.
yeah.
But
Sounds like that's a fair enough reason not to go to London.
Yeah.
but you know, you can still answer this question though. So, you know, heading into London, say, you know, if you were going to go, who would be like your biggest rival, and who would you want to, like, you know, beat the most? I mean, I know you, when you were doing the hot lap challenge, you just wanted to beat Box, but you know, who's a rival of yours that you really want to take on?
I really like competing against Chemical. You know, we're in the same team. We've been playing Forza since Forza 2. We've always been, you know, there or thereabouts with each other. That's like a friendly rivalry. I think if
That's an OG rivalry right there.
It
yeah.
is actually.
If I was to pick a more salty rivalry, it'd be Force One. You know, I do get on with Dan. I do get on with, you know, in Mexico. I apologized to him after I lost my shit, you know, and I went off the rails, like. But I apologized to him. I haven't got a problem with him. But you know, if I could beat him in London, that'd feel good.
Makes sense, yeah. You know, I've been keeping an eye on Chemical as well. I like to keep an eye on the, you know, the guys that kind of fly under the radar.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been watching Chemical as well. In the last 2 weeks of the RC season, I noticed, you know, he was like you. He was able to keep pace with some of those top guys when he had time to really put into it. And you know, he's very quick, and I think that he's someone that a lot of people overlook. And you know, if he makes the finals, you know, these guys better watch out because he's not too far off at all.
Yeah, Chemical's good enough to beat anyone. I mean, we are quite close with Box. We've been, you know, Box used to be in TPR, and
Yeah,
we
of
practice
course.
with Box quite a bit. And Chemical can beat Box in practice sessions all day long. He can do that no problem. But then in the Forza RC, it comes down to where you've qualified sometimes and getting that bit of extra
Absolutely.
luck. And it just hasn't gone Chemical's way. He's been super unlucky so far.
Mm.
But I'm
Yeah,
hoping that'll change for him in London. He's got the home field advantage then.
Mm.
yeah,
Well,
that's awesome.
let's hope he does better. Like I'd like to see some new names at the top. You know, I think
Yeah.
everyone's sick of seeing Laser and Lightning running first and second.
Well, Lightning hasn't been running first and second.
No, not recently.
So don't even say that, because Lightning has not been doing that. No.
Not recently, but like in the other Forza RCs, it's just been two guys. I say, hey, who's gonna win? It's either one of these two guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roadrunner shook it up, and then yeah, it's kind of all just sort of evened out. I think gone more of a way of competitiveness and not just being able to sit there and lap until you're happy with your lap.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, definitely some good stuff there. You know, I think that you actually, you know, shed a lot of light on a lot of things that people have been saying for a while, and you know, you're just backing it up even further with Forza and the way that, you know, things are structured and the way that they're doing things. You know, it's definitely some good stuff, man. So, well, best of luck in you know, New York City, and enjoy your
Yeah,
time
best
off.
of luck. I'm sure he has no idea what he's doing.
Hey man, you never know. It's a big city. What can I say? I don't live too far from you, but yeah, no, man. We appreciate you taking the time to come onto the show, man. We appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thanks very much for having me. Enjoyed it.
All right.
Thanks, Davey.
Cheers, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Definitely some good stuff there, you know. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about as well, you know, you said